What the heck is going on, everybody? Today I have the best graphics, audio, and controller settings for Black Ops 6 ranked play. And without wasting any time, let's get right into the graphics. Starting with display mode, we're going to go to full screen exclusive. Make sure that you have your correct monitor and display adapter depending on the graphics card and the monitor that you're using. Make sure the screen refresh rate matches the monitor that you're using as well. Same with the display resolution. For display gamma, I have 2.2. For NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, I have this on plus boost. This is because on my build, the CPU is the bottleneck rather than the graphics card. If this is opposite for your build, I would turn this on just on. For the rest of the settings, I have custom frame limit on unlimited. I would make sure to have VSync and gameplay off, VSync and menus off. And for custom frame rate limit, I have this on unlimited. My gameplay is 150 because my monitor's refresh rate is 144, so it's not going much higher than that. And then going down to HDR, I make sure to have HDR off. And as we get into the quality portion of the video, I always like to mention that my build is personally optimized by FPS Hub. Over at FPS Hub, they do PC optimizations, they do audio optimizations, and they do network optimizations. So if you're in need of one or all of those, I highly vouch going with them. Specifically Kibbs, he's my guy. And use code LUNCH while you're there, or let them know that I sent you if you decide to go with them. And code and affiliate stuff aside, I genuinely vouch for them. You're in good hands. But for the rest of quality, I have my render resolution on 100. Make sure this matches your monitor's resolution. For the upscaling and sharpening, we go Fidelity Cast. For whatever reason, the settings show up weird, so you kind of have to reset it to Fidelity Cast. And then now once I go to show more, I can put this on 100. The frame generation, I have this on off. Scale target at 80. Variable rate shading is on. For texture resolution, I have this very low. Texture filter is normal. Depth of field off. Detail quality low. Particle resolution very low. Bullet impacts and persistent effects are both off. Shader quality is low, and my on-demand texture streaming is on minimal. For local texture streaming quality, I have this on normal. For shadow quality, very low. Screen space off. Occlusion and screen space lighting is off. Screen space reflections off. Static reflection quality is low. Tessellation off. Volumetric is low. Deferred physics off. Weather grids off, and water quality is off. And that is it for the quality portion of the video. Moving on to view, I have the FOV at 105. Typically for controller, around 100 to 107 is good. If you're on keyboard and mouse, you can bump this up. ADS field of view, I have this on affected. Weapon field of view is wide. And then the rest of the FOV settings don't matter. However, in the camera settings, I would make sure your weapon and world motion blur are both off. And your first person and third person camera movement are both on 50%. For inverted flashbang, that's personal preference. Concussions don't hit that hard in this game, so it's fine to have it on off. And that's going to do it for the graphics portion. Let's go into controller up next. So for my controller, I run default flipped, so just the default button layout with flipping L1 R1 and L2 R2. Since I play claw, this helps because I can aim and shoot here instead of all the way out here. And for my stick sensitivity, I run 6.6. If you're not sure what sensitivity to run, I have a video here that goes over how to find your proper sensitivity and a ton of other aiming tips, so check that out. Controller vibration, I have this off, and dead zones. This is the most important setting in the entire controller settings, I promise. Make sure that your left stick min and your right stick min are down as low as possible without getting stick drift. Then turn your left stick max down to 70 or 75 so that you reach your maximum strafing speed faster. These three settings right here are the most important settings in the entire controller tab. And with those out of the way, let's go to aiming. The important ones that you'll need. Don't mess with the sense multiplier. I keep this on default. However, I do go to aiming advanced settings and turn aim response curve type on dynamic and ADS sensitivity transition timing on instant. A lot of times this will be on gradual if you're first starting the game. Just make sure this is on instant, and then you can back out of there. Make sure your target aim assist is on, and if you want to, you can go to the motion sensor advanced settings and make sure your FOV sensitivity scaling is off. From there, we'll go into movement. I have sprint assist on. You can do tactical sprint assist if you like, but I like to run these settings with just the sprint assist on. That way it's easier to run side to side and backwards. And then I go down here to movement advanced settings and make sure my tactical sprint activation is on single tap run. That way, if I just want to regularly sprint in any direction, I just have to move my left stick in that direction. If I want to tactical sprint, all I have to do is tap my left stick once. For the rest of my movement settings, I have mantle assist off, crouch assist off. My corner slicing is on. Although this one is genuinely personal preference, it doesn't change anything about your character or your hitbox. For slide and dive behavior, I have this on hybrid because I like to dive and slide without it affecting the input delay at all. For automatic airborne mantle, if this setting is blurred out for you and you want to change it, you would go to movement advanced and turn grounded mantle back on. Then that gives you the option of doing whatever you want with automatic airborne mantle. However, I just like to keep my grounded mantle off because I like to decide when I'm mantling stuff. And the rest of my movement settings are here. Again, like I said, single tab run. And the last controller tab is the combat tab. The important ones here are going to be the combat advanced settings. And if you want to do prioritize, interact, or tap to reload, this is where you go for that. And that's going to do it for the controller settings. I think we're actually going to go into interface next before we go to audio. There are a couple important interface settings that I like to use, none of them being in the global tab. We're going to go over to readability and color customization. I would go down to color filter, do filter to both with a world intensity of 85 and a interface intensity of 100. This makes your game look a lot more vibrant, so I definitely recommend changing that. And up next, we have the gameplay HUD. So I like to go to the HUD presets and go to mission interface. All of these are personal preference, but I'm just going over which one I enjoy the most. I choose mission interface. Then I go down to minimap shape, make sure that it's square. Minimap rotation, keep that on. And then compass type, I actually turn this off just so that it looks a lot cleaner. For the HUD bounds, I would make sure they're all the way to the center of your screen as possible. This is to keep that minimap as close to the center of your screen as it can be. And then down to crosshair, I turn this on static with the crosshair dot on, center dot scale larger, crosshair spread off. And then my crosshair color, this is personal preference as well, but I just like the light blue. And then I'll scroll through the rest of the settings here. I just keep all of these on 100. And up next, we're going to go over the audio settings. These have changed since my last settings video. So my master game volume I have at 100. These are the remainder of the settings with dialogue and effects, both at 100 and music at 20. I make sure that my sound device is the Astros that I'm using. I turn enhanced headphone mode on, but I don't go through the configuration to do the personalized. I tested that out in a video and didn't like it that much, so we're doing just on without the personalized, just the universal audio setting. For the audio mix, I use Sucker Punch because this tightens the range, makes it a little bit easier to hear footsteps. Mono audio, I have this off. And the rest of the settings, this one's important here, the asymmetrical hearing compensation, turn this on. This also makes it a little bit easier to hear footsteps. I don't mess with the frequency intensity yet, but if I do at a later date, I will update it. I reduced the tinnitus sound, yes, and my hip marker preset is on classic. And the voice settings here shouldn't matter at all, but here they are on screen in case you need them. And then one last setting I would change, I would go into account network and turn the dismemberment and gore effects off. This generally allows for an improvement in frames, especially while in game. And that's going to do it for my Black Ops 6 graphics, audio, and interface and controller settings. I hope you all enjoyed and are looking forward to ranked play. If this video helped, definitely let me know with a like or subscribe, and I'll catch you next time at lunchtime.